Good evening, everybody. Welcome to PatFacts. Patrick here, Pattern Your Back Personal Fitness. Hope everyone's having a great week. Hope everyone had a great couple weeks. As I fully adjusted to that time change. We had a couple weekends ago. Hopefully, if you missed the last episode, we chatted about some ways to work through that, and hopefully they were useful for you and gave you some tips and some ideas. And again, if you have different ideas, suggestions, experiences that worked for you to deal with the time change and how to adjust and stay on schedule, etc., please let us know here in the chat. You can even go back again to the last episode and let us know in the comments there. We'd love to hear from you guys what's working for you, and again to help share with each other and maybe inspire someone or motivate someone or just give someone even a kind of a way into thinking of something that might work for them. That could come from something you were doing or a modification of something you're putting into play. So please, we want to grow a formative, supportive community here. So please make sure to feel free to share those experiences that you have, even if maybe things that haven't worked for you. Maybe someone else will be able to give you some guidance, or maybe they tried a different version of what you tried and had some success. So again, feel free to share with each other and help that community grow. Tonight, we're going to continue on with our kind of our goal setting, our resolution setting series. We like to talk more about goal setting here, more so than the traditional New Year's resolution. Again, it's kind of set usually last minute as it's New Year's Eve or things are coming or the New Year starts. Maybe we hear people set them, we kind of jump on the bandwagon, and then typically there's not much kind of preparation and even thought put behind it, and then within a few days, maybe a few weeks, maybe a month or so, for most people, those resolutions don't stick. The success rate is very small. So what we prefer to do here in our community is have our we say ascend to the end, and a big part of that is trying to work on preparation and goal setting. So the idea being, we start now, and we kind of started back in October with a couple of challenges and some other talks we did, and now we're really getting into that goal setting. So we set the goals now. You don't even have to firmly set one like today, but just get you in that mindset, that mind frame of it. Set a goal. We're going to maybe create some contingency plans in case things get a little sideways on us, and have ourselves set up and have a bit of momentum going so that when January 1st hits, we're already going forward towards that goal. We've got the ball rolling, or at least we've got a plan in place. We've got our ideas. We've tried a couple things to see what works, and then we make those adjustments. That positive momentum is a big key in elevating that success rate. And remember, it's a New Year's resolution. It's not a first 3 weeks of the New Year resolution. You have the whole year to complete it. So the idea we're going for here is setting something for December 31st, 2024. Last year, if you were with us, we set something for this December, and we're coming up on that. We talked again a few weeks ago about kind of ramping that practice up, dialing things in, making sure things are really on track and on point, so that again we can let that do its thing while we maybe start to shift our focus, at least momentarily, as we plan for 2024. So tonight we want to talk about goal setting. So we want to set our goal, put our intentions out there, be very clear and concise about it, and then again we can start to plan for how we're going to get there, and maybe set smaller goals along the way. So keep that in mind. Ideally, or generally, we look for kind of one big goal accomplishment for the end of the year. And I looked it up, just have a definition of a goal. Most of us are familiar with it and know what it is, but the idea being the definition from Merriam-Webster is the end toward which effort is directed. And I said aim. I think that ties in with a lot of what we talk about, having the coordinates in the GPS before we go out to work towards the goal. Know where we're going, and the directions will sort of provide themselves, or they're easier to follow. So the end towards which effort is directed. So we're setting the end first, creating that goal, and then we're going to reverse engineer, work backwards, and maybe look again at smaller goals that will lead up to that big goal. What do I need to accomplish along the way to make sure I'm meeting that goal at the end of next year? What checkpoints do I need? What practices do I need to put in place? So keeping that definition of it in mind, or it's an area in which players in various games attempt to advance the ball or puck, depending on how your goals are set. But again, the end towards which effort is directed. So for this one, I think what would be great to do is brainstorm some areas that you want to improve, some things you maybe want to get better at. If you've been with us and have set, or even if you haven't been, but have had goals for this year, does this year's goal maybe tie into next year? Would there be like a step 2 or a phase 2 of the goal you're in, or the next progression from this goal? Maybe this year was to run a 5K run without walking. Maybe next year, maybe it's a 10K. Maybe we increase that a little bit, and that's the next level. Maybe something totally different than what you did this year. That's fine. What we can do now is we have this year behind us almost of working towards that goal. We take those systems, those procedures that we've kind of implemented and worked through, and again, hopefully tweaked and adjusted as we needed to really fine tune them. And then we apply that to next year's goal. And that system and that kind of knowing more about ourselves and how we respond to certain things, what maybe helps us progress more, what slows us down or hinders us as we progress towards our goal, that should put us on a good path, again, leading into 2024. So get out some paper, get out your notebook. I know some of you who are regulars, this is kind of your personal development time. You watch, and then after the show, you do some work on the tasks at hand. So maybe, again, you grab your notebook and just brainstorm, jot down some ideas. Again, we don't have to set it exactly tonight. If you do, great. If not, that's okay too. Just start getting that ball rolling again, get that mind thinking towards 2024. And with some of the talks we've had in past episodes, hopefully that started already. But if not, really try to make that your focus this evening to, again, just get in that mindset and to get yourself kind of moving forward towards that. Put those ideas down on paper. Again, brainstorm them, have them around, and then start to think of the ones that will make the most difference for you. What's going to have you see the best results? Maybe there's a couple there that are closely related that you could combine into one goal. There's different ways to approach that way as well. So we just want to get the ideas out, and then we can really, again, formulate them and fine tune them as we go forward into, again, these next, I guess, 4 to 6 weeks or so of 2023 to, again, get that momentum going for 2024. And an acronym we like to use in fitness and with goal setting in general, but it's typically big with in the fitness industry with personal training and fitness coaching, is what's called the SMART goal. So SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timed goals. So if we follow that kind of layout, that acronym, again, it helps us fine tune our goals, helps us hopefully set ourselves up for success, and have us on the right track and keep us on that path, and just start us off on the right foot. So we want it to be specific. So your goal should be specific to you. Generally, your goals will be different from my goals, than their goals, than their goals. Maybe if we're a group, maybe a coworkers, a family, maybe we're going to work towards the same thing. But even still, probably the end goal is going to be a little different for each of us. Maybe the overall goal is the same, but maybe we each kind of have probably a different sub goal, or maybe even a reason for that goal. So you can gain influence or some motivation or some inspiration. So I'm trying to think of from others. Maybe you hear others setting their goals. Maybe you discuss with a friend or accountability partner or colleague goals you're working on to maybe, again, give each other ideas. But it really should be specific to you. Again, better chance that you'll stick with it and work on it if it's specific to you. If you piggyback off someone else's goal, then again, there's a less of a success rate because again, it's not you. And if it's not for you and specific to you, then the motivation is easier to lose and the focus isn't always there. You've heard probably if you have working with children, they usually suggest to involve the children in the rule setting of the classroom or the space, because then again, they're more likely to stick with and follow those kind of standard rules because they've had an input into it. It's kind of their space, it's their community, rather than being told what to do all the time. This is kind of similar. I, as a coach, could say, here's your goal, do this. But if I can input you and say, what are you looking to accomplish? What are things you want to improve? Where do you see yourself in a year from now? How do you want to be acting? What do you want to be doing? These types of things. Then again, you have input into it and specific to you. There's a little more motivation behind it. Your why, which is very important. Why do you want to achieve that goal? Which we'll talk about really getting into as well. But if you understand the why, again, it's specific to you, that's helpful on those days when you're just not feeling like working towards your goal. You don't feel like getting to the gym, or you don't feel like sitting at your desk to do some work. Having that why and a very clear vision of that why and knowledge of it, again, comes back to help you stay on track and keep you motivated and going forward. So we will always like the goal to be very specific. Again, gain inspiration from those around you, but really try to create it and shape it so it's specific to you. The next one is measurable. So we want to have either clear guidelines throughout the goal. So I mentioned earlier, maybe your goal is to run a 5-kilometer race by December 31st, 2024. So the measurable goal is the distance you run or you're working towards, but also that end date, December 31st, 2024. That's when we want the goal accomplished. And that's very helpful for a lot of people because a lot of us, when we goal set, we would maybe set that goal with, I want to run a 5K. Okay, but when? If there's no kind of confirmed date or guideline or that kind of clear goal, then it's kind of easier to put it off. Oh, I've got time. One day I'll run a 5K. One day I'll work towards it and get better at it. And no, we need to know a date and a clear goal. So again, you can work towards that. And maybe as it gets closer, maybe you need to adjust it a little bit. Maybe there's been injuries. Maybe the training wasn't working quite how you hoped. Maybe there isn't a 5K to do that. Maybe you want to do it as part of a race. Then you can adjust that in line a little bit, that goal. But when we start, we want to have a clear, measurable moment with that. So again, that 5K goal, 10K goal. Maybe you want to lose some weight. Maybe you want to increase your typing speed. Maybe you're doing a little more admin work, or maybe you're an entrepreneur who's doing some more work from home and you'd like your typing speed to be a little faster. Maybe you want to play a song on your keyboard or your guitar. Maybe it's a really specific certain song that you want to be able to play. It's all these measurable goals that we can see that when you've reached this certain moment, this certain result, that's the goal. So I want to lose 10 pounds by this date. So that's your goal, the 10 pounds. You can see that, you can measure it. There will be other goals along the way or other accomplishments that, and we'll talk about this as well as we go forward, that you may not be able to see or measure. You'll feel better, you'll have more energy, you'll sleep better. These are typical kind of add-on goals for most people when they begin to change their life for a healthier lifestyle. So they may not be something that they measure as much per se as inches off the waist or some weight loss or some muscle gain. But again, it's those can take the spots of those little goals that I mentioned, or those little checkpoints to make sure you're progressing towards your goal. So it's different ways to measure what it is you're doing. That's the focus on the M. So we have specific, measurable, attainable. So something that you can, again, attain and get to. And it kind of ties in with the R, which is realistic. And I kind of have started kind of grouping these together a little more, because when you kind of explain them separately, they kind of end up sounding the same. And I've had to a lot of people, not a lot, I shouldn't say a lot of people, but I've heard people say SMART goals are not good for us, because we shouldn't maybe necessarily think attainable, because we want to get out of our comfort zone. We want to get better. If we just think attainable all the time or realistic, that maybe keeps us in our comfort zone too much. So what I like to say is we want to maybe follow this acronym, but the attainable and realistic, we have to maybe group those together and just look at them from a good perspective. So attainable, again, is something that's accomplishable for us. So again, finishing a race, running a marathon, and losing that weight, maybe going to the gym so many days out of a month for so many months. Something we can kind of, again, see and kind of experience and have that accomplished and know when we've got there. It's something we can attain and get to. We can kind of see and visualize it a little bit. Running a 5K on Mars right now may not be attainable because it's very difficult to get there. And can we live there, and let alone exercise and experience it? That's a whole other thing. But we can filter it and again, word it. And this is where some of the work comes in after we finish up tonight, as we work towards this. Once you have the goal or some ideas, then let's really go through this SMART list and see if it checks the boxes. And if there's some missing, we don't have to scrap it necessarily, but maybe we can tweak it, again, modify it. Maybe we take a couple of those other words we have and shape our goal to have a little more focus and clarity, and to make it more attainable and more measurable. So we're going to be able to, again, measure what we're doing, have it attainable and realistic, so that we can share it with people and have them behind us and know that we're working towards something. But think as well of maybe trying to, what I like to say is, push the boundaries of your comfort zone. So you may not dive right out of your comfort zone. The goal may not even take you out of your comfort zone, because then you'd be uncomfortable. But what I like to think of it is, maybe think of your comfort zone as being like a ball around you. And we want to get right to the edge of that comfort zone. Just beyond that, we're uncomfortable. We're kind of on that uncertain edge. It's not quite totally comfortable, but it's not uncomfortable. But the more time we spend there, it'll become more comfortable. And that's going to expand our comfort zone out. So I try to approach it from that way, because some people to hear, get outside your comfort zone. That's intimidating for some people. That's difficult. But if we can maybe push to the limits of our comfort zone and find just that edge where we're almost, I don't know about this, uncomfortable, and we spend more time there, again, that becomes kind of a new normal. It becomes comfortable for us, and we can try to slowly expand that comfort zone. So as we think of being our goals being attainable and realistic, again, try to find that good zone of, yes, realistic and attainable, but still something that's going to progress us and make us better. Again, make us fill in that ascend till the end mantra that we like to use here in our community as well. So really take a look at those as you're working towards that goal. Is it attainable? Is it realistic? Am I going to run a marathon next weekend, starting from scratch? No, that's not realistic. Running a marathon is attainable and realistic, but not next weekend. Okay, what do I need to? I need to revisit that. I need to restructure that a little bit. Okay, I need to train. Do I run now? No. So I probably don't want to start with a marathon. I'll start with these smaller distances and gradually train and practice and work my way up. But again, running a marathon for most of us could be attainable and realistic, and even with a lot of the advances and some of the modifications that are available there, a lot of us could have the opportunity to do so if we choose. But again, it's the framing of it that we're thinking of, and the wording, and even just the thought itself of that goal. if it's not really realistic and attainable, as we think of it and try to remind ourselves of it and try to create maybe theme words and contingency plans, that little bit of doubt that could be back here is going to keep creeping its hidden there and reminding you about it. Whereas if it's a little more realistic and attainable, and again, we think of that kind of edge of that comfort zone, you kind of know, you know what, I'm right there. If I need to back up a bit, I can be comfortable. And if I want to be adventurous, I could push a little further or a little harder into the edge of my comfort zone. But over time, I'll get better and I'll grow. And that growth of your comfort zone, that expansion, you're going to move to the edge of it again. It'll expand. You'll keep that going. That's you progressing. That's you getting better. So again, jot these down if you haven't already. And as you create your goal, run it through this kind of checklist and see. So we have specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and the last one is timed. And we sort of touched on this one with measuring. The measurable component of the SMART goal, it's that timed component. What's the deadline? It's really hammering that down. So again, it ties back into the measurable because you can measure that distance. You can check in on that time frame. We're typically looking at December 31st, 2024. Again, that's a measurable moment. You know when that's coming. You can break that into chunks to get there, but it's timed. I know I have 12 months plus a month and a half to get towards that goal, to that deadline, my time motion. Maybe it's 6 months, maybe it's 3 months. Again, it depends on your goal and what you're working towards. But typically you'll hear me talk about December 31st, 24 will be sort of our goal deadline of when we want to be achieving that goal. And again, like I said earlier, things will change, things will come up. Maybe you achieve it sooner, maybe you have to extend a little bit. That's okay. We just want to have a clear path and a clear idea and a plan. And then if we need to, we can modify and adjust to help us, again, just continue to evolve and progress and learn about ourselves and get better. And that's the goal. We want to be a little bit better every day. So that's that timed portion. So try to make sure you have a deadline in place to, again, help you stay on track, for one, because you know that deadline's approaching and it motivates you to get going or stay going and working towards that goal. And again, kind of like the measurement we mentioned earlier, it gives you that definite moment. Well, I want to get better at speaking French. Okay, but by when? Okay, well, I want to be able to speak more fluently or say more, know more expressions in French by December 31st, 2024. And then you can see where you are now. Maybe you have a certain goal of a number of those. And again, for a year to learn French, setting up your plan to practice, maybe expose yourself to the language and immerse yourself in the language. Again, all these things will be the next steps of that to really fine tune that and maybe make sure I put this plan in place. Let's go back to the SMART goals. Does it check the boxes still? Okay, no, this one's a little off. Let's tweak this a little bit. Now let's go back to the SMART acronym. Now does it check the boxes? And then once they're all sort of there, it's specific, it's measurable, it's attainable, it's realistic, it's timed. Okay, now let's put in that work. We've got the goal. Now let's do some planning to help us stay on track, and let's keep revisiting that SMART goal. Is my plan aligning with my goal and my SMART goal to, again, help me progress towards that goal and accomplish that goal at the time I set it? If not, then again, revisit it, tweak it. Don't give up on it. Again, there's no one way to do things. You're going to set it up for you. Again, your goal should be different than mine. So the way that my goal is SMART could be different than yours too, because our goals are different themselves. So maybe I need to focus on the measurable components. Maybe I need to make it more specific. Maybe my plan is something I borrowed from somebody, but again, maybe it's not specific to me. So maybe I can borrow it, but I need to modify it. Otherwise, I lose the specificity of my goal. I'm taking my goal into your plan and trying to make it work. Again, that probably would limit my chances of success. So maybe I use your influence. Maybe I read some books, maybe I watch some videos, listen to some speakers or some people who have been there before. And then I take that information and really mold it to make it specific for myself. So again, go through this acronym and keep it close by. Keep it in your notebook, on your papers, on your phone. And again, keep checking in with it as you're setting that goal, or goals. And you can set more than one if you like. But as you're setting that end toward which effort is directed, we don't want to direct our effort over here if the end is this way. We want to make sure both things are aligned. So again, we can increase our chances of success. So I've had success with it, the SMART goals. Again, I've had clients who have had good success with it. Again, I think the maybe the caveat or the reminder is when you're at attainable and realistic, don't play too safe. We want to push ourselves. We want to get better. That's the idea of goal setting, is to improve ourselves and progress and become better. So just keep that in mind as you're going through that checklist and using that acronym. But it is a very good, again, an indicator and a guide and just a checklist to keep coming back to make sure, especially in these kind of initial planning stages, that things are staying in alignment with how you want them and they're on the right track. And it could even be a check-in every once in a while as we really get into this goal implementation. Maybe I shifted something and that took me away from the specificity or the measurement. Maybe I tried to change something. Now I can't measure my progress as much. So maybe it's not a SMART goal anymore. Maybe I need to bring it back a little bit and again, tweak it, adjust it to make sure that things are keeping me on track. So it's a nice check-in and a nice extra piece there as well. So again, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timed. So my homework, my challenge for you is to get out your paper, get out your journals, your agendas, whatever you use to work on yourself and whatever you're using to set up your goal for 2024, and just brainstorm a bit. Just put ideas out on paper. Don't worry about what they are or anything. Just get words out on paper. Think whatever comes to mind, put it down, put them all over, and then maybe take a break from it, or if you feel ready for it, sit and look at those words and just maybe eliminate some that don't make sense. Check them off, get them out of there. Again, maybe you'll see a couple that these are kind of close. Maybe I'll pick my whatever seems a little more clear to these two words that would plug into my SMART acronym a little better. Or again, maybe I do a combination of those two words, or maybe even make a phrase that describes my goal or goals for the year. And then as you have that idea, and then you plug it into that SMART checklist. And if it's checking the boxes, great. If something's not there, then we just have to go back to the drawing board a little bit. Again, maybe rejig the wording, the goals, or sorry, not the goals, but the measurements, the time. Again, maybe the specificity, maybe it's not quite as specific to you as it needs to be. Revisit those and tweak them and adjust them. And this is the time to plan and prepare so that, again, when January 1 hits, we've already got this kind of legwork out of the way. Some of this stress and anxiety that some people get when they try to throw out a New Year's resolution and think, oh, it's January 1st, though. I've got to start and I've got to do this. And what am I going to do? And how am I going to stop smoking or lose weight or exercise more or whatever the goal happens to be? And it becomes overwhelming. We're trying to kind of almost ease into it a little bit and, again, create that momentum, almost like a warm-up in a fitness class. We're warming up now before a workout. Then we can get right to it when it's time to start. We don't have to build in a workout or a warm-up, at the beginning of our workout, like some people do when they start that resolution right on January 1st or December 31st, again, as you get caught up in the moment of things, because we want you to have a higher chance of success, get better results out of it. Again, a warm-up before a workout, it does that same thing. It gets the muscles, the mind ready so you can hopefully get better results from the workout, get more out of it, and then you have less chance of injury as well. So if we can prep beforehand, we hopefully increase our success rate, and we hopefully decrease our levels of anxiousness, uncertainty, overwhelm, which derails a lot of us from progressing towards our goals. So if we can limit that a little bit, even just a little bit, it can make a huge difference for us. So again, if you have any ideas of goals that you would like to share with us here, again, feel free. Again, if you're live with us or you're on recording, we always love to hear from you. So let us know in the chat. Send me a DM if it's something maybe you're not quite comfortable sharing just yet, or maybe you don't want it tied to you just yet. We can share it another way. That's fine too. But I'd love to hear your goals. Love to hear, again, even if you're brainstorming, throw some of those ideas out there, and then again, come back next week with try to come back next week with a little more fine-tuned goal. It doesn't necessarily have to be 100% set yet, but just a better indication or a little clearer picture of what your goal possibly could be. And as we're going through these next few weeks here, hopefully some of these, as we're working on these skills and these kind of additions to our goal setting for 2024, it'll maybe help shape and mold that a bit, and then you can actually see how it plugs into some of these other topics we're going to cover. So again, I'd love to hear from you. Let us know your goals for 2024, or again, your ideas. If you don't have your goal set right now, that's okay. Come back to the video. Let us know in the chats, or again, join us next week or on following weeks, and let us know that goal, what you have set for yourself, and maybe help us see your SMART checklist. How does it fit in those boxes? And let us help you work through some of that if you're having trouble. That's it for tonight, gang. I appreciate you being here. And again, I appreciate your patience for, I know my schedule's been a little off these last few weeks with just some work commitments and things going on, and some unexpected stuff taking a bit longer than I thought it would. And just having the good energy for this and being in the right mindset. I want to make sure I can give you the best version of me as I can, with good energy and good intention here. So again, I appreciate your patience with the on and off schedules lately. Again, we're going to hopefully be a little more consistent for the rest of the year, or if not, we'll put in some contingency plans for that if we can. Hey, Bonnie, welcome in. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, and again, let us know if you're on the replay. Let us know what your ideas for goals are, even if you don't have your goal set. Let us know those ideas, and maybe again run them through the SMART checklist as you go back and watch and see these ideas. Next week, the plan is to build on this. So again, hopefully try to have a bit of a goal, or at least an idea of your goal, or even a couple of ideas if you haven't picked them yet. And next week, we want to tie in theme words to that goal. So we're going to create a theme word or a mantra that will hopefully help us stay on track and help us stay focused with our goals. So we're going to discuss those a little bit, and we'll give you some ideas for some, and then I'm going to reveal my theme word for 2024. I found it a few weeks ago unexpectedly, and I thought, that's it. And I've been wanting and dying to share it with you, but I wanted to wait until we all kind of were in that mindset together. So we'll chat about theme words, mantras next week, and then I'll review mine for 2024. So if you have your goal set and have a theme word, or even if you know it now, don't tell us yet, but save it for next week and join us next Wednesday at 6 as we'll go through theme words for 2024 on this road to setting our goals for 2024 and having a great and prosperous year. Have a great night, everyone. Thanks so much for being here. I always appreciate the comments, the likes. Again, please share this with anyone that you think might benefit. That's maybe trying to set their 2024 goals. Maybe they're having a bit of a rough 23, or having trouble getting that goal that they tried to set up before. Maybe we can come together as a group and help each other progress towards that. So you too, Bonnie, have a great evening. We'll stay safe out there, everyone. Take care of yourself. We'll see you here next Wednesday. Remember, always make yourself the priority that you deserve to be by striving to get operationally fit. Stay safe. Take care. We'll talk to you next week.